Hello, thank you very much for watching. This video is for you if you're going to be sitting AQA GCSE RS paper 1 this Thursday, the 9th of May. So it's Monday today, and I thought I'd do a little video just with some last minute tips, because for a lot of you, I know that this will be your first exam and it can be a little bit nerve-wracking getting the first one out of the way. But if this is your first one, it's actually not a bad one to start with. So I'm not going to go through content today, but you can check out lots of my other videos if that's what you're after. But I thought what I'd do is just give you a few little tips so that you know exactly what to expect on Thursday, try and take some of the stress out of it for you. So here we go. Right, the first thing I would say is some of you are going to be at different stages. So some of you might be on study leave already, some of you might not be quite yet, some of you might not have study leave at all. Hopefully, you're in pretty good shape with your revision. You've been preparing sensibly, you've been looking over things, you've been doing some good revision. If you haven't, it's never too late. Until you sit down in the exam, it is not too late to do something. So even if you've been putting it off, burying your head, feeling like you can't quite face it, these would be my top tips for the best revision you can do in these last couple of days. The first thing I would say is you're not going to be able to do it all. So don't try and do it all. Don't try and do too much. You'll stress yourself out horribly. My two main things would be keywords and religious teachings. So the two religions that you've studied, now if you're at my school, that's Christianity and Islam, but it might be different religions. Have a look at some of the keywords that you need to know. If you're not sure what they are, you can get the specification off the AQA website. You can ask any of your teachers and they will help you. Have a look in the back of your textbook if you've got one. Have a look back through your work. See what keywords you can find. Words that don't come up anywhere else except in RS. That's pretty much how you find out what a keyword is. Same with religious teachings. What are your quotes? What are you going to use? You do need a range. What people quite often say to me, and I hope they're joking, is that, oh, you can just use love thy neighbour for everything. You really can't. You can use it once, that's fine, as long as it works. It's not going to be credited multiple times. So don't try that one. Try and learn a bit of a range. And then the last thing I would say is try and stay away from stressful people. What I mean by that is quite a lot of people don't tell the truth about their revision. Some people will have done loads and loads and loads and they'll pretend they've done nothing. Some people will have done nothing and pretend they've done loads. Some people will just not shut up about how stressed they are. It can get in your head and you don't need that right now. So if you've got somebody in your group, somebody in your life who's stressing you out, try and just take a little step back from them. Okay, this is what I would do in the maybe 48 hours before, just to get your head right. So most important thing, get a good night's sleep. Don't try and stay up super late revising, because if you haven't got enough sleep, you're going to pay for that. Get a good night's sleep Wednesday night. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling jittery, gentle exercise can really, really help with that. Even if you just go for a walk, do some stretches, quick gym session, whatever it is you like to do, just a little bit of exercise can really, really help. Eat well, eat things that you like, but also eat things that are healthy for you. And remember to eat enough. Plenty of water. Remember, you can take water into the exam. Check with your school as to what exactly the rules are about that. But staying hydrated is going to be really, really good for your brain. And give yourself a little bit of space. Because it's the first exam, when you're waiting to go in, like I said before, people might be bringing quite stressful energy to that. If you feel like you just need to take yourself out of that situation, just do that. Just, stand off to one side, have headphones on until you have to take them off. People will have different strategies, but try and get yourself into a good mental place to do what you need to do. So I wanted to go over the structure of the exam because it's not exactly complicated, but it might not look like exams you've done before. You might or might not have done a mock exam, so you know what to expect, but I just want to go through it. So this exam, paper 1, it comes as 2 booklets. So you have 2 religions that you've studied. You'll get a booklet for each religion. The first thing you need to do as soon as you get those is check that they're the right ones, check that they're the religions that you're expecting. And if it doesn't look right, tell the invigilator straight away. Whoever's running that exam, put your hand up and tell them, I don't think I've got the right thing. If you only end up with 1 booklet, tell the invigilator that as well. You've got to have 2. It's far easier to sort out a problem at the beginning of the exam than it is at the end. You've got 1 hour 45 minutes for the exam. In that time, you've got to do both booklets, and you're not going to be told when to finish one and move on to the next one. You have to do that. Okay, so 1 hour 45 to do both the booklets. The other thing I would say, and people always forget this, is you need a black pen. The reason why they say black pen is because nowadays these papers are scanned in and they're emailed to the people who mark them. If you don't use a black pen, it can't be guaranteed that your writing is going to show up properly. So you need to write in black. Have a pen that you know that you like to write with, and a big tip would be take more than 1 in. Now, they'll probably have spares, but you can't absolutely guarantee that, and you can't guarantee that there'll be nice pens that you like to use. Take at least 1 spare, make sure it's black. All right, quick section on timings. Now, this is not strictly going to apply to everybody, and this is also assuming that you don't have extra time. If you do have extra time or other access arrangements, you might need to think carefully about how you're going to make those work for you. So this is assuming that you don't have extra time. You've got 105 minutes altogether. That's 1 hour 45 minutes. So you've got 4 sections to do. Beliefs and practices for your first religion, that's 2 sections. Beliefs and practices for your second religion, that's the other 2. So that goes across the 2 booklets. And each section consists of a 1, 2, 4, 5 and 12 mark question. Hopefully I'm not telling you anything you don't know here. Here's roughly how I would do the timings. So the 1 mark question, that's multiple choice. Read it carefully, but then do it and move on. Hopefully you can get that done in less than a minute. The whole kind of 1 minute per mark thing, I don't think works out terribly well with RS. You need to balance it a little bit more carefully than that. Your 2 mark question, that's just going to be 2 short points, usually 2 bullet points. You should be able to hopefully get that done in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. Don't write too much for that. Your 4 mark question, maybe 3 to 4 minutes. That's going to be 2 short paragraphs. So you're going to make a point and develop it, move on to your second point, make your point, develop it. By the way, the better your knowledge is, the easier it is to stick to these timings. Your 5 mark question is going to be similar to that, but the thing you've got to remember now is that you've got to add a clear reference to scripture, sacred writing, or another source of belief and teaching. The easiest way to do that is to do a quote. There are other ways to do it, but this was what I was thinking about before when I said try and make sure that you've got a good range of quotes ready to go. And then your 12 mark answer, this is half the marks, but they're the hardest marks to get. And so to really nail this, to do your best work, I think you need to be spending between 13 and 15 minutes on that answer to get the level of detail in it. If you've practiced this a little bit differently, that's fine, do what works for you. But this is what I would recommend. This is what I find works for a lot of people. All right, so when you're in the exam, my advice would be read each question at least twice. That's really important because if you're skimming, your adrenaline's going, you're trying to work fast, you might miss a keyword in a question and that can cost you. Read each one at least twice. You don't have to do the questions in order. Some people like to start with the 12 markers. That's absolutely fine. You can start wherever you want, as long as you make it clear which question you're doing. Be careful before you start crossing loads of things out, because anything you cross out won't be marked. So if it's not perfect, but you think it's still creditable, maybe leave it. You know, think about what you want marked and what you don't want marked. Putting some structure in your answers, writing in paragraphs, that will make it so much easier for the marker to see where to give you the marks. Examiners love that. Try and be specific rather than general. So if you're vague about your answers, you'll probably get something, but the people who are going to pick up the marks in the mark scheme are the people who are really specific, using really good knowledge. And there will be clocks visible to you in the room. Keep a close eye on the time, try and keep track of how far you've got. If you have access arrangements, hopefully you've had some conversations about how to make those work for you. But you know, if you have rest breaks and you feel like you need to take one, go take one. You know, if you've got that arrangement, there's no prizes for not using it. If you feel like you need to use it, that's what it's for. If you don't have access arrangements, that won't apply to you. You've got an hour 45 minutes to get it all done. Finally, after the exam, first of all, well done for getting through it. I wouldn't recommend obsessing over it with other people. Don't do a post-mortem where you try and pick apart every question and listen to what other people have said, because it's pointless. You can't do anything about it now. So try not to do that. My advice would be go home, do something to wind down, you know, watch a show that you like, go for a walk, chill out, and then eat and sleep well so that you're ready to go for whenever your next exam is. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Like I say, over the next few days, if you need a few little boosts to revision, check out our other videos. We've got loads for GCSE, particularly Christianity and Islam, if that's what you're doing, but also for quite a few of the themes as well. So good luck, well done, you've got this, and I'll see you soon.